Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Dream Car Garage. Now in this week's episode we're going to add some fuel to the great debate. Which is better, Mercedes or BMW? Now if you remember, last year we did a review of the BMW 330 diesel, and as you remember, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. The straight 680 bhp diesel engine was absolutely superb. It pulled well, it was quick, handled like a sports car, rode very nicely, smooth, quiet. I thought it was genuinely a brilliant all-round car. This week we have its key rival at the time, which was the Mercedes C270 CDI. Where the BMW had 6 cylinders, the Mercedes only had 5 cylinders. Where the BMW had 180 bhp, the Mercedes had to make do with just 170. But I believe the Mercedes had more torque, so it all evens itself out. So we're going to have a little drive in the Mercedes, see what it's like. I'll talk you through it, and then we'll make up our own mind at the end. Right, okay, we're in the Mercedes now. Stepping out of the Mercedes stepping out of the Rover, the MG, straight into the Mercedes. Although the MG, in my opinion, is a pretty nice car. We drove it, it drives well, nice interior, stylishly designed. Stepping inside of the Mercedes, you are made aware quite quickly that you're in a very different class of car. I mean, its signature, hard to describe. Before you even touch anything, as you look around, there's a look to the finish, an organizedness. There's the quality of the plastics covering the dashboard look better. The seats, I mean, luxury is a very funny thing to describe. It's subtle things. I'm looking at the seats, and although they're not overly fashionably designed, I'll turn the camera and let you have a look. Although they're not overly fashionably designed, you can just see the quality in them. The car just has a luxury feel. Even looking at the doors. One thing I don't think works quite so successfully in my point of view is like the carbon fibre-esque fake weave on the dashboard. In my opinion, that doesn't work quite as successfully. But that said, the overall package gives very clearly, in my opinion, the impression of quality. And when you start to touch it, it just feels, without a doubt, more robust. Even when you close the door, straight away you have the heavy feel that you get, that I got with the BMW. When you move things around, it feels sort of heavy and solid. Now this car is actually a little bit heavier than a BMW, but not by an awful lot. It's about 1,600 kilograms. But you feel that you're in a very weighty, solidly quality item. So straight away, over the MG, it's got there is a quality deficit that the MG can't quite bridge, which is fair enough because it didn't cost anywhere near as much when new. Okay, we're going to start it up. Now, with all diesels, you can't really get away from this too much, to be honest with you. And that's the sound of the diesel when the vehicle is idle. And this is made from Mercedes, one of the world's biggest, most well-known luxury brands, and I can still hear the diesel quite distinctly on turn up. It's a little bit removed, but I can still hear it. Now, straight away, the big difference between this and the BMW is obvious. The BMW has a 6-cylinder engine, and it sounds fantastic.
You rev a little bit and it just sounds great. I mean, within a couple of minutes, you're not even aware that you're in a diesel. This, even the revving it doesn't sound anywhere near as nice as a 6-cylinder BMW. So the engine-wise, sound-wise, the Mercedes the BMW is a world apart. But let's take this car for a drive, and then I'll give you my impressions. Okay. Now, straight away, although I'm still hearing the engine and I don't like the sound of the engine, as soon as I depress the throttle, it's quick. You know, you can feel the torque. It's picking you up from a low speed. It's a quick car. I mean, that much is evident. It's not darty and light as you would expect, say, you know, a GTI to be. But it's not supposed to be a GTI. It feels initially dull-witted and a little bit heavy, but as soon as you really put the foot down in some earnest, then it feels quite alive. Mercedes don't build themselves on being, or not at the time they didn't anyway, on being the sporty alternative. They prefer to build themselves on being the sort of a compact luxury car. When you're really pressing on, as I am doing now on some of these country lanes, you are aware quite quickly that this car really can handle. It stops well enough, it turns corners well enough. But one thing that particularly impresses me is the ride. The ride of this car is amazing. Not just the handling, the ride, how it feels. It's really absorbent, but it's almost, it's like a magic carpet ride. It sort of wafts over the ground. Really, really, really smooth ride. Smoother than the BMW. The BMW absorbed the bumps beautifully well, but this one just seems to glide in a way that the BMW just can't, and that feels really relaxing. But I think once I'm on the run as well and the engine's warmed up, it starts to feel, the engine's a lot quieter. When you hear the engine rumbling away, it still doesn't sound as nice as the BMW, not by a long shot, but this is a really nice car. Quick, smooth, quiet. I'm going to go up this lane and I'm going to come back down with the camera facing the road so you can see the actual roads we're going down. And this car, make no mistake, is very quick. Already, you wouldn't believe it, 70. Straight up. This car is proper rapid. Once you, like I've discovered with the few Mercedes I've driven, it's most impressive when you start really pushing it a little bit. Pushing it around these corners, around these bends. It handles very nicely indeed. Sticks to the road. The engine is fantastic. Still a little gruff, doesn't sound as nice as the BMW, but it is shifting along at a fantastic rate. And that ride is amazing. Wow, this has been a bit of a revelation. I'm a die-hard BMW fan ever since the 80s. But driving this Mercedes now, it doesn't feel as alive as a BMW, it doesn't feel quite as involving, but it feels businesslike and proficient. It feels proficient. It feels like it's not going to play with you quite like BMW would, but it's pretty much going to get its head down, do its work, and it's a kind of, if it were a child at school, this is a top of the class kind of kid. in terms of snooker players, let's put it this way. The BMW is a Ronnie O'Sullivan. You know, you can see the genius in the man straight away. The Mercedes, that's the John Higgins. Proficient, efficient, will keep plugging away, and will win in the end. Which one's better? That's a hard one. I think the argument for that is going to pretty much run and run. I think the argument as to which one is better will run and run. But for me, I'm going to stick my head on the line. I think this, for me, as an overall package, the engine's not quite as impressive as the BMW's. It doesn't engage quite as much as the BMW. I don't love it as much as the BMW, but my head tells me this is, by the narrowest of margins, a better car. The engine note isn't as nice. It doesn't engage or play with you as much as the BMW, but the engine is a fantastic unit. It's fast, it handles well, the ride is on a different level to the BMWs. The interior feels easily as higher quality. Sound insulation is good. It feels like you're in a luxury car. It's, to me, just overall, a slightly better car. Yeah, it's a slightly better car. It even pains me to say, and I'll probably vacillate and change my mind a few more times, but maybe it's because I drove the BMW, it was like last year, a year ago or so, and I can't remember exactly how good it was. But this one, to me, it's a slightly better car. Looks wise, if you're going to compare like with like, the BMW, if it were not with the M-Tech kit, to me, doesn't look as good as this car without the body kit. I mean, like for like, this car's a better looking car. And if you're going to take into consideration the fact that the Mercedes also has the AMG kit available as a sports pack, then the Mercedes, to my eyes, looks much better. Which is fair enough, because they're not exactly of the same time. The Mercedes came out about 2 years after the BMW, and the BMW's E46's life ended before this one did. So they weren't exactly like for like. By the time this one was still in production, BMW had a new 3 Series 3-litre diesel, and then later on this had a new 3-litre diesel. So they're not comparing exactly like for like, but comparing this with the BMW 330 we test drove, BMW's better. Now I'm just going to turn it back on the road, give you an indication of just what this car's like in terms of acceleration. Just like that. And we're off. Woo! 60 already. And it's doing its job. Look at that. It's gone. It's just so efficient. Handling around the bends. Slowing down. No messing about. That's just a car that just knows its stuff. Put your foot down, overtake, boom, gone, round the bends. That, to me, is extremely impressive.